The scout corvette Starling had been built for stealth, not endurance. She was a shard of black composite, 37 meters long, smelling of ozone and recycled sweat inside, with one sliver of Singularity fuel in her belly and 12 Fusion Lance warheads in her weapons bay. When Starling slipped from Union space during a routine survey jump, her crew thought they had simply misplotted a coordinate. 48 hours later, still drifting in lightless vacuum, they knew the truth. The jump drive had cuffed them into nowhere. Captain Lysoferin sank into the command cradle, helmet dangling from one hand, boots still magnetized to the deck. Status? Same as last time you asked, her executive officer Lieutenant Ash Patel answered from tactical. We are precisely nowhere. Sensors show no stars in any spectrum. No identifiable quantum background radiation either. It's like the universe forgot to turn itself on out here. Farron exhaled. Engineering? Hackering, hunched over a maintenance panel, replied through open comms. Drive rings intact, capacitors full. But every time we spin up to jump, navigation errors blow out of range by 10 to the 9th. The computer can't build a causal map. Explain it to me like I'm not sleepless, Farron said. Sighed. We can't tell which way time is flowing, Captain, and navigation needs time. Starling's onboard AI Omen joined the conversation with its usual rippling calm. External chronoton density is high enough to drag local spacetime out of Euclidean alignment. In short, we are in a pocket of temporal turbulence. Ash tried humor. So, we've hit a cosmic pothole. Or an abyss, Omen corrected. A rift in which cause and effect blur. The captain drummed her fingers on the arm of the cradle. Options? Wait it out, Ash said. Or improvise. Farron nodded once. We improvise. They launched shimmering buoys packed with sensors and entangled clocks, hoping to map invisible currents. Each buoy winked into existence, broadcast a single squeal of distorted data, then fell silent. The sixth buoy returned a cascade of telemetry that made Omen's avatar flicker with surprise. I have detected a vessel identical to Sterling, the AI said. Range 11,000 kilometers, bearing 32 degrees port, 5 degrees dorsal. Eng's eyes widened. Another Union corvette? Out here? Ash's fingers flew over tactical. No transponder, no active emissions, but the hull signature is a match, right down to the micro-pitting on-frame struts. Farron stared at the black display, where 2 icons now pulsed instead of 1. Someone stole our schematics? Omen hesitated. No. The probability distribution suggests it is us. A silence thick enough to taste overwhelmed the bridge. You're saying we're looking at ourselves, Ash said. From another time. Closer to a quantum reflection, Omen replied. A decohered echo of our own probability state, given independent existence by the turbulence we occupy, Ing muttered. Multiverse theory made flesh. Farron swallowed the metallic flavor of adrenaline. Open a broadbeam laser, Tightband. Let's see if ghosts answer. A few micromechanists after the ping left Starling, the ghost ship fired an identical beam back, carrying an audio stream. The bridge speakers spilled their own voices, delayed by light time and tinged with static. Starling Bridge. Who the blazes are you? Farron leaned in. This is Captain Lysoferin of Union Scout Corvette Starling. Identify yourself. After the half-second lag, her own voice replied. Captain Lysoferin, Scout Corvette Starling. I'm guessing you already know that. Ash whispered. We really are talking to ourselves. Seems we looped, Ing said. One of us branched left, the other right. Omen processed data too fast for human eyes, then spoke. Based on chronoton gradients, both the vessels exist in superposed timelines, displaced by approximately 19 minutes. We can coexist so long as we maintain quantum phase alignment. Separation beyond 50,000 kilometers will disrupt that alignment and annihilate one copy. That sounds bad, Ash said. It would be fatal to whichever copy decoheres first, Omen confirmed. Farron tightened her harness. So, we've got us and us. 2 ships, 2 crews, 1 set of problems. Let's make it an advantage. She opened a 2-way real-time channel. Both captains, herself and her Echo, spoke in tandem, quickly discovering they were uniform up to the moment of the first buoy launch. Divergence followed. The Echo vessels, had overloaded a buoy and scorched some circuitry. Their ash had suggested a different scanning pattern, nothing major. Fate had simply folded them apart. Can we merge quantum states and become one ship again? Echo Farron asked. Omen answered for both units. Only by re-entering normal space-time with identical coordinates and velocity, physically impossible without risk of annihilation. Then we stay 2, Farron decided. Double assets, double teeth. The word teeth felt aspirational. A scout corvette carried scant ordnance. 12 Fusion Lance warheads per hull could not scratch a capital flotilla. Yet when she pictured 2 magazine racks instead of 1, her tactical brain flickered with possibilities. The conversation froze when Omen announced fresh contacts. Temporal signatures approaching. Classification, Chrono Dominion Task Group. 5 destroyers, 1 cruiser, 1 timing lattice. Ash cursed. The Dominion found us. The Chrono Dominion, the enemy empire that had perfected temporal weaponry, had hunted human frontier worlds for years. Their warships used phase-shifted armor and predictive firing solutions extracted from potential futures. Scouts like Starling were the Union's eyes past the war line. Now a squadron of the enemy had wandered into the rift, perhaps tracking the same chronoton flare that had swallowed Starling. Farron snapped orders. Echo Starling, confirm you count them too. Affirmation returned. Then we either hide or hit first. Echo Farron's voice sounded ragged. They outgun us 70-1. Not if we make them see double, Ash said. Ing's eyebrows arched. You want synchronized strikes? Exactly, Farron said. 2 identical ships in different quantum phases. If we coordinate, every maneuver becomes an entangled deception. Their predictive matrices will receive conflicting data. We hit from 2 moments at once. She could feel her own Echo thinking the same thought. 2 ships spoke over each other. Use duplicate warheads. Starling carried 12. Echo Starling carried 12. To Dominion sensors, that would look like 24 warheads blinking into existence from overlapping time streams. Worse, it would shimmer along the decoherence boundary, making range solutions impossible. Farron allowed herself a thin smile. Let's confuse some tyrants. They split tasks. Real Starling, they dropped qualifiers and called themselves Blue Team, would approach from the dark plane of the rift, hugging gravitational troughs invisible to normal sensors. Echo Starling, Gold Team, would mirror the track 19 minutes ahead. Because the Turin rift stretched cause and effect like taffy, Blue's missiles could theoretically arrive milliseconds before they launched. Gold's could arrive milliseconds after. The Dominion's timing lattice, designed to read such paradoxes, would drown in contradictory future trajectories. Synchronized planning became frenzied arithmetic. Each Starling paired its warheads into 6 salvos, 2 missiles per salvo, each missile fitted with a microfork coil so its antimatter helium fuse could be toggled between yield settings at the last microsecond. Blue loaded salvos A through F. Gold mirrored them, locked to identical codes, linked by entangled key pairs. Fire control cross-linked across the quantum boundary so that punching a trigger on Blue simultaneously armed the twin in Gold's Bay. Ash called it orchestra mode. 1 conductor, 2 unseen choirs. The Dominion task group dropped into normal space, rippling like reflections on broken glass. Destroyers named Faithless, Epoch, and Relentless Loop flanked the cruiser Crown of Recurrence. Behind them unfolded the timing lattice, a web of silver rings that rotated around nothing, capturing stray chronotons, feeding predictions to gunnery AIs. That lattice was the reason Dominion captains boasted of invincibility. They fought with tomorrow's knowledge. Farron intended to give them both too many tomorrows. Starling Blue descended along a trajectory that made sensors believe she was a piece of drifting debris, engines cold, hull temperature within 3 degrees of the cosmic microwave background. Starling Gold, 19 minutes displaced, mimicked the same approach, because each ship recorded the Dominion in slightly different temporal angles. Their sensor packets streaming through Omen began to build a fuller picture. Errors in destroyer shield oscillations, residual heat leaks on the cruiser's port coil. Data synergy became the weapon. Within the briefing bubble that served as Blue's war room, holograms of gold outlined Dominion hulls shimmered. The Echo Crew's data layered over their own like a stereoscopic image. Ing pointed. See that? Their shield cycle 90 kilohertz high for 8 microseconds every 20 seconds to vent thermal buildup. We can slip a warhead in. Ash added. But it's a moving target. Our salvo needs to hit during the vent window. Which we know, Omen said smoothly, because Gold already scanned the shield's future cycle. Timing solutions synchronized. On the Dominion flagship, sensors would be guessing at phantom duplicates. Their predictive model assumed a single Starling. 2 sets of telemetry would produce divergence errors. With luck, the lattice would begin self-correcting loops, rewriting its own future glimpses faster than its gunnery arrays could keep up. That delay, maybe a few seconds, was all Starling needed. Farron keyed the channel to Gold again. Her own face, half-shadows, stared back. Both voices overlapped. Ready on sequence? Ready. Farron lifted the safety bar over the fire control yoke. 12 warhead icons glowed amber. Amber meant unleash, waiting. Ash murmured, "Let's make history improbable." Or unwrite it, Ing said. The Dominion group noticed something. Crown of Recurrence stiffened, thrusters firing to pivot broadside. Blue's passive arrays picked up sonar pings, time-spliced graviton waves. The Dominion used like radar. Starling was about to be illuminated. "Launch in 5, Farron said. 5, her echo repeated. Blue and Gold rotated to present launch tubes. The rift's geometry made ordinary distances irrelevant. They were 30,000 kilometers apart physically, yet only 1 Planck breadth away in quantum phase. In effect, they sat on top of each other. 3. Through the visor of memory, Farron saw training sims. The first day she commanded live warheads. The funeral of a mentor lost to Dominion raids. She felt the weight of humanity's border colonies, counting on scouts to warn them. 2. She wondered if her echo thought the same thoughts. 1. The fire control yoke depressed. 12 amber icons flashed green. Across the boundary, Gold's 12 icons flashed green at precisely the same microsecond. 24 Fusion Lance missiles erupted into darkness, except to an outside observer they were 12. Or 18, or some number that refused to settle. Each missile's trajectory existed in a blur, doubled by quantum uncertainty, their exhaust plumes out of phase with optics, their drive signals smeared. Dominion sensors squealed. On Blue's feed, Farron saw the timing lattice flare turquoise, its rings accelerating as algorithms groped for clarity. The destroyer Faithless Epoch fired interceptors, not at missiles but at phantom afterimages, slashing empty space. Warhead pair Alpha dove for the cruiser's shield vent on the port coil. Dominion gunnery predicted impact in 0.047 seconds, prepared flak bursts, then rewound the forecast, claimed impact was 10 seconds ago, then revised again to 3 seconds ahead. The lattice's twin hearts glowed angry red as recursion errors mounted. The first 2 warheads detonated simultaneously, 60 gigatons each, shaped plasma lances punching through the vent at the half-open instant. Crown of Recursion staggered, its port coil rupturing, blue-white fusion flame venting into vacuum. Every human on Starling inhaled as if sharing the cruiser's sudden loss of breath. Before shock waves faded, Pairs Bravo and Charlie materialized above Destroyer Relentless Loop like apparitions, bursting prematurely by design. The Dominion ship's armor absorbed raw plasma, but couldn't fend off the data storm inside the explosion. Electromagnetic scramblers burned its synthetic neurons, leaving turrets dead. The lattice tried to split itself. half projecting to intercept Delta salvo rushing at its core, half rewinding time to recalculate. But Delta's two warheads did not exist along normal timelines. They flickered between Blue's present and Gold's past. The lattice predicted 0 bombs, then 4, then -1, an impossible solution that collapsed its field. Ring shattered, molten loops spraying across emptiness. Ash whooped, "Timing lattice down!" The cruiser fired blind, fusion lances stabbing where Blue had been 7 seconds earlier. Echo Starling weaved opposite, splitting prediction even more. On Blue's deck, Hing's console danced with radiation alarm, Dominion beams scoring vacuum centimeters away, close enough to leave molecular scorch marks on the hull's graphene. Farron kept her voice level. "Salvos Echo and Foxtrot, redirect. Echo to mop up the crippled lattice." Foxtrot finished the cruiser. Echo Salvo obeyed, plunged through shattered rings, and blossomed. The lattice's remains winked out, a swarm of cooling fragments. Foxtrot pair angled in toward the cruiser's yawning wound. Dominion officers must have realized the inevitability. Transmission spiked, panic tones, jamming, overlapping quantum pulses. Too late, both warheads fused inside the cruiser's drive core. Light filled the rift, white with miniature sunrise. Crown of Recurrence split along her superstructure like a geode, scattering chunks of chromed armor, frozen crew, and iridescent shards of temporal circuitry. Destroyers, blinded and leaderless, tried to flee. They accelerated into deeper turbulence, their own drives twisting time around them. One flickered, half vanished, half crushed into a singular smear. Another looped its escape vector into itself, emerging nose first through its own stern, then tearing apart. Ash whispered. "We just turned their weapons against them," Farron answered. "We turned their certainty into doubt. That's worse." As last Dominion signatures faded, Blue and Gold coasted amid debris. The rift's chronoton gusts settled, calmer now that the lattice no longer stirred the winds. For the first time in days, Starling's nav computer reported stable temporal coordinates, still distant from Union space, but reachable. Omen delivered a quieter report. Quantum phase drift between Blue and Gold increasing. Our windows no longer align. Phase separation 0.9 and rising. At 1, decoherence becomes irreversible. Farron and her Echo conferred. Neither needed explanation. Reality demanded one Starling again. Survival probability favored the vessel. With stronger hull integrity, Blue had taken near hits, microfractures. Gold remained pristine. Logic said Blue should sacrifice. Ng argued, "We can repair. We're still breathing." Ash added softly, "We're the original line, maybe." "Feels wrong to vanish." Echo Farron watched them from the display. Her eyes mirrored their anguish. No solution spares everyone, but if one copy destabilizes, both might. We risk annihilation anyway. Omen proposed a third option, transfer consciousness. With entangled arrays still hot, personality matrices, experiences, even memories could be streamed across a quantum link. Transferring crew data into their Echo's neural implants would preserve identity, though not corporeal cells. A remote immortality. Farron considered, hand on the console that had been her command seat for 3 years. "A copy of a copy," she said. "Turtles all the way down," whispered. Ash set his palm atop hers. "I'd rather our story survived than our atoms." They asked Echo Starling to accept. She agreed without hesitation. A commander looking out for her crew, no matter which iteration. Data streams began. Blue Starling's bridge lights dimmed as bandwidth throttled. Farron felt the brush of cold across synapses as Omen duplicated memory clusters. Her first kiss on Luna, her fear the night the Dominion bombed New Sapporo, her delight tasting fresh oranges at a frontier outpost. She tasted those oranges again, now tinged by halogen, and smiled. Transfer completed. Omen spoke. "Decoherence threshold in 10 seconds. Farron looked to her crew, saw them lit like constellations by console glow. "We did good work," she told them. "We punch tomorrow in the face." Ash saluted. See you on the other side, Captain. See you, she said, and meant it. At threshold, reality blinked. Starling Blue and her crew dissolved into coherent light, like frost melting under sun. Their quantum pattern slid across the narrowing bridge to Gold Starling, writing itself into her systems, waking bodies that already stood there, now overlaid with fresh threads of memory. Captain Lysa, fair and singular again, shivered as she acclimated. She was on a clean bridge, minor differences in scuff marks and cup stains, but wholly hers. Ash, Ing, and the others steadied, feeling duplicates integrate into themselves like half-remembered dreams merging with waking thought. She checked status. Hull intact, 12 replacement warheads crafted from Dominion scraps, jump drive charged. The path home lay clear. Behind them, the rift churned, digesting broken enemy metal, sealing fractures in space-time like a healing wound. Ahead, Union territory beckoned. Farron set course. Record all logs, she ordered Omen. The fleet needs to know what we learned. Ash cocked a brow. That we can fight time with itself? Exactly. She allowed herself a breath. And that, when tomorrow looks impossible, sometimes you borrow a different one. Starling unfurled her sails, tapping the gentle tidal push of residual chronotons. Velocity rose. The quantum echo had become singular, but its lesson lingered. The universe hid mirrors within mirrors, and resolve could turn paradox into power. In her private mind, Farron thanked the ghost of herself who dared first. She felt a whisper in return, a subtle resonance that might have been memory, or might have been some lingering entanglement. Either way, the echo belonged to her now, and she to it. Starling leapt toward recognizable starlight, leaving behind the place where she had once been, too, and where the Chrono-Dominion had discovered fatal that certainty could fracture like glass when struck by its own reflection. The black ahead shimmered into blues and purples, a promise of home. Farron straightened her shoulders. Engage jump! A burst of white drenched the canopy. Starling vanished, carrying within her a victory impossible to predict, yet undeniably real. A triumph forged by a lost scout ship, a quantum echo, and the precise harmony of synchronized warheads confusing a fleet that believed it alone commanded the flow of time.